everybody. Jim? Yep.
Prayer today. Thank you, God, for keeping my family safe and healthy through many months of this pandemic. Please keep your healing hands upon them in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you, Lord, for every blessing. Amen.
Great, thank you, Jim. Before we get started, I'd just like to make a quick acknowledgement. I don't see the sheriff or any of his guys here today, but just maybe people have seen it in the news, but just acknowledging our dispatchers in Geauga County. Last Thursday there was an emergency. A guy had I think a cardiac arrest, but our dispatchers helped talk to very brave, and we're thankful for them as well. That was a really important thing, and it shows that our 911 system and that investment we've made into it is well worth it. So, great. So, the Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for a special meeting to hold a work session for July 24th, 2020.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
On August 20th for Job and Family Services, I acknowledge the following new hire appointments as the Director of Job and Family Services complied with the Board of Commissioners recruitment and hiring procedures for Sarah Aldeweller, Social Service Worker 2, it's a replacement position, effective July 7th, 2020. Holly Livert, Social Worker 2, replacement, effective July 7th, 2020. Cheryl Morgan, Unit Support Worker 1, replacement, effective July 27th, 2020. And for the Department of Water Resources, approved an unpaid personal leave of absence for Doreen Epic, Administrative Assistant, for 1 day, 8 hours on August 19th, 2020. This will extend her probationary period by 1 day.
Okay. Adrian, how are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Okay, today's financials include an appropriations transfer to the Sheriff's Office for miscellaneous reimbursement checks that were deposited into the general fund, and also a transfer to maintenance for COVID-related expenses which were reimbursed from the relief fund and other expenses to cover upcoming encumbrances. There are several cash transfers from the coronavirus relief fund to various departments to reimburse them for unbudgeted expenses incurred as a result of the pandemic in accordance with Resolution of Acceptance 20-93, and another cash transfer from the general fund to juvenile court to care and custody to reimburse for expenses incurred but not included in their fiscal year 2021 grant that they received from the state. So among the purchase orders is one from Community Development to J&E and 3 for a local revolving loan for the pond ice rink. And among the vouchers are $59,000, $950,650 from the Commissioner's Office to NV5 Incorporated for owners' representative services rendered in June, and $79,917 from the Engineer's Office to Grade Line Incorporated to replace Tilden Road Bridge. And there are some revenue certifications from Water Resources for additional unbudgeted revenues received in 2020.
Excellent. Okay. Any questions or comments for Adrian? No. Okay. A motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Okay, and then item number 4 is another resolution of acceptance for CARES Act expenditures. In this one, we have a total of $130,905.06. For reimbursement, we have $13,743.47. That includes $4,682.11 from Aging for PPE, sanitation, thermometers, equipment for the donation station, and also $9,061.36 for the Sheriff's Office for PPE, sanitation, thermometers, and equipment to aid social distancing. Total proposed is $117,161.59, and that includes $11,499.15 for the Engineer's Office for 3 mobile desk carts to aid social distancing, and MS Office 2019 licenses for remote working. $25,231.82 from Water Resources for PPE, touchscreen monitors and mounts for teleconferencing, replacing 16 cloth chairs, along with 7 laptops and accessories and 2 multifunction printers for remote working. $36,830.67 for maintenance, for sprayers for sanitation with extended batteries and tips, 5 laptops with accessories and 2 multifunction printers for remote working, and $18,889.95 from the sheriff's office for PPE and replacing 45 fabric chairs with non-porous surface chairs, and the treasurer's office for $24,710 for the installation of a full height barrier with cash trays for each teller station to aid social distancing.
How are we doing overall right now? I think we had, what, $825,000 roughly?
Yeah, we've spent several hundred at this point. I believe we are going to be possibly getting some more as well.
I checked with Chuck earlier this week, and we're about a quarter of that's been used.
Okay.
So
And we have till October?
supposedly, yes, to encumber it in December to spend it. I did receive an email yesterday from CCAO
Mhm.
that apparently another department in another agency in the state was releasing another about $175 million of CARES funds to the locals.
Wow.
So, and they're following the same formula. I don't know whether that's passed, but I know that was.
So how will we, I mean, I guess this might be for the auditor, but as far as sponsorships go, have we sponsored anybody outside of the?
We have not sponsored anybody outside yet, but at this point, I think we can start looking at those
Mhm.
outside, because we have the money left over if we're
Right.
gonna get additional funds. And I have received a couple of requests. One was from Planning Commission, one was from the Board of Elections, and one was from the Park District.
Okay.
I think that new money is gonna be like $410,000 for COVID.
Okay.
Per
More-
jog.
Per jog.
Yeah.
Additional.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't have a motion. A
So moved.
resolution.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, agenda 5, item 5. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Morning, doing well. Item 5 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and execute the final change order for the annual striking program. It's a reduction of $31,749. Because of the COVID, we changed up our plan, the amount of funding, so that reduced certain roads that we were striking. So that just changed up where the reduction came into play. And then we had some township work that we were doing, in conjunction with some of the township roads, and we pulled some of that work off too. So that's where the main reduction comes into play.
Very good.
So next year, the roads that you didn't do would be in a rotation?
Yeah,
in the
basically the
future.
plan, the rehabs or the resurfacings or the reconstructs, those will get moved back into the plan, hopefully be done next year. So we did a bunch of smaller jobs in case we needed to pull them.
So move?
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Item 6 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and execute the final change order with Chester Miller Construction for the maintenance building metal roof. This is a decrease in the amount of $21,164. The main reason for this is the underlayment sheeting. We reached about 50% of what we were expecting to see, so that saved us about $14,000 straight up in there. And we changed out the expansion joint we were going to use along the cap. Eliminated the expansion joint between the maintenance building, old and most recent, but not the engineer's office, and changed it with a different style cap. And that saved us some money.
Very good.
I make the motion?
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, treasurer's office.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Morning, Chris.
Good to be here.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Sure.
So,
I'm here to provide further support for installation of the COVID barrier in the Treasury,
yep.
which will be a full height device. It will prevent airflow from the public space into the Treasury, into the actual office space. I believe we see more visitors in our office than pretty much any other office to exceed a couple thousand people. So this really is a safety item we should have considered years ago. And I'm excited to be in a position to make this proposal.
Very good. I mean, you've taken some precautions. I know I was just in there a few weeks ago, but, I mean, is there, you're gonna completely just put up a whole new wall there, so it's a...
All the way to the
Yeah.
top of the ceiling.
Okay, yep, very good. Okay, any questions or comments?
No questions. I think it's going to be great for, the coronavirus and possibly future situations like that.
Absolutely.
So we'll be set for a long time. So with that, I make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
By the way, I
Appreciate it.
want to make a, engineer left. I've been riding a lot on my bicycle. We got great roads.
Yeah,
I'm very, very pleased. We're lucky.
we do.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you all.
Okay, let's go water resources.
Morning.
Hi, how are you?
So number 8, the Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners and Multi Vista Systems LLC for professional photo documentation services for the Chardon Berkshire Heights wastewater treatment plant project, an amount not to exceed $5,800.
And this is during the whole construction period.
This will be, yes, it will be documentation that we need to do for that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
We've utilized these for other projects, so.
Yep, so they go step by step, like through your inspection process and everything, and, yeah, yeah.
Keep track of it.
Yep.
So you can actually sit there and, put them all together and flip through them and watch the building be built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This is good.
So do you supply the photos to them then? Is that how it works? or-
No, they take the photos.
Really?
Mhm.
So they're out there a lot
They come
then?
out on a regular basis,
Yeah.
daily basis, or whatever it is to take pictures.
Huh, okay. Very organized, okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, number 9, the Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute the contract agreement with Quasar Energy Group to dispose of biosolid sludge and or filter sand generated by the Geauga County Department of Water Resources. It's a 3-year period contract starting September 1st of this year through August 30th of 2023 in an amount not to exceed $2,403,804.98.
Is that, down in Independence, is that where that is? Is that?
No, they're actually, I think they have 3 locations now. Their first one was actually up in Collinwood.
Okay.
And I think Independence is, yes.
I think there was just an article about these guys in the paper or something.
They do a really nice job for us.
Yeah.
They've done a nice job. And the biggest, I think I've said it before, the biggest advantage that they provide for us is they take ownership of the sludge. So
Right.
as soon as it leaves McFarland's property, it becomes their responsibility.
Right.
And
And
then
if anything ever happens.
So
it's
the
on them.
liabilities.
We don't have liability after they
Yeah.
pick it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but here's their main office is in Independence. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking about.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then this is a resolution to move the meeting to
Oh,
hold at the
right.
fairgrounds
Okay, so.
on the 3rd.
Yeah, so Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution Number 20-097, establishing location and time of September 3rd, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners to be held at 10 a.m. at the Geauga County Fairgrounds, and we'll be beginning the junior fair.
Yeah. I make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
yes. Okay, and then just a reminder, tomorrow we do have Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management Directors Meeting at noon. You can be at the office or Zoom. I plan on going there. Say, go to revision Monday. And then, so next Tuesday, Commissioner's Office will be here at 9 a.m. There'll also be a public hearing at 9:15, regarding the proposed amendment to the standard specs and procedures for the design and construction of subdivision roads in Geauga County. And then Thursday, we will have our meeting at 10 a.m. at the fairgrounds. Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Skip.
Is the Waste Management District Zoom information on their website?
I believe so. Yeah, I would believe so, but I'll make sure.
If not, can you make sure that
Yes.
we get it? I may come over there. Anyway, I'd like to talk to you guys as a trustee about our recycling center.
Yes.
I copied you guys on a letter
Yep.
requesting information in terms of getting more security and more, put some cameras in there.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Would you mind if I took a couple of minutes as a mental health board member to talk to you about something?
Sure.
I am just looking at some statistics. I'm gathering data on impacts the coronavirus has had to the mental health organization, board, and so forth. And we're seeing a huge increase, and I'm just getting the numbers now, but it looks like a doubling of drug overdoses, a doubling of suicides. It's significant numbers of people who are impacted by decisions made by the coronavirus, not by the coronavirus themselves, but when you're at home, you have more potentially drug interactions. In addition to that, there's more people who are having significant problems because they're at home cooking drugs. I just heard this yesterday, which is a real big surprise to me. So I'm very, very concerned about it as a mental health board member. We're spending more money, having to spend more time, having our services spend more effort and time because the decisions made aren't necessarily, nobody takes those deaths into consideration. So apparently the deaths on drug overdoses, suicides, depression, other kinds of issues don't count as much as COVID deaths. That concerns me. Death is a death, people count regardless. And so I am going to bring this up to the health board tomorrow.
Do you have a meeting tomorrow?
There's a health board meeting tomorrow.
Mhm.
So I'm going to bring that up to them. I've got to start or continue getting all the data together so I can speak intelligently about it. But it is a very concerning if this trend is true. The other thing that's a concern that I heard yesterday was that the health board counts numbers differently than other organizations. So the sheriff counts deaths differently than does the health board, and so the numbers come out different. So that the health board doesn't count a death if it's a Geauga resident and they died in Lake County. The sheriff does count it. They're a Geauga County resident, and that death counts in Geauga County. And
As
so
far
that's
as
another-
overdose or suicide or?
Yeah, well, and primarily the conversation was around drug overdoses.
Mm.
But there's so many different interrelated topics, but the bottom line is making decisions for people to force them to stay at home, force kids to stay out of school, all those decisions have unintended consequences.
Mhm.
And those unintended consequences, I fear, and what I'm seeing as a mental health board member, is that they're worse than the ultimate disease itself. And so I've got to prove that out through the statistics I'm gathering, but the commissioners don't have any direct oversight in the health board. You do have clout. You do have, you are a member of the advisory committee, which chooses board members and ultimately then the director. And so I only bring that up to you from an awareness standpoint, so you're aware of it. You do look at the mental health board, and we're being impacted dramatically by the decisions being made, both at the state and at the local level. A lot of these are state-led decisions. And so we'll see where this all goes. But all of us have a duty to our communities to ensure that we use whatever influence we have to get the best outcomes.
Mhm.
And so I'm here telling you so that potentially, as you're talking to other people or interacting with people at the state level, whatever, we can all work to get things, to change things in a way that we have more positive outcomes. And I'm very concerned what I'm seeing right now. So I only bring it up to you from an
No,
awareness
thank you
standpoint,
for bringing that to our attention. I know, it's no secret, this board, we've heard, it's impacted every department and every way we operate inside and out. Whether, and most of it negatively. There hasn't been a whole lot of positive impact, right? So, but again, with our jail treatment programs, being completely interrupted there for months on end, dumped on its head, those numbers you know, we were very successful in going in the right direction, and they made it an about face. And, but, you know, those are being addressed again, and, you know, in the suicide numbers, and, I mean, you hear this a lot. I haven't seen it, like you said, get the actual statistics on it, if it's doubled or not, but it certainly is a lot of concern, for sure.
Well, the numbers that I've currently gotten, and again, I just got them yesterday, I'm trying to digest them, but it looks like the number of suicides so far through July 31st is double what we had last year for the entire year. Or maybe it was the equal, I'm sorry. So it looks like the year would be a doubling.
I see.
And so, and that's a trend that just doesn't look very good.
Mhm.
And, you know, we need to be aware of it and at least discuss mitigating things like that.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to. at least bring
Appreciate
up.
it, appreciate
So,
it. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, Pete Ziegler, Board of Elections.
Yes, sir.
I will be sending a formal invite to each of you gentlemen in the near future, but I wanted to extend an invitation from my board to our next board meeting, where we will be having demonstrations of 2 potential new equipment vendors for central processing and location vote scanning. It'll be a significant expense. It'll be covered primarily by HAVA grant funding that the board received last year. And the board asked me to invite the commissioners and the administrator
Excellent.
if they wish
Now-
to see. It will be on the 17th of September. One vendor will be in at 9 a.m. The other vendor should be in at 1 p.m.
Okay. So, Pete, you know, we did this once before, right? You know, we went and looked at the equipment, and
Right.
now, so are these the same vendors, or are we starting over from scratch on that stuff? Or?
When you came in and saw it before, that frankly was before I was
Right.
here, so I'm not sure which vendors were in on this process. ES&S, who is our current vendor, is one of the vendors.
Mhm.
And then the other one is, I believe, RBX.
Was there a reason for, you know, not
For
making that that hold?
Okay, one of the big reasons is the presidential election
Okay.
there, and we frankly just didn't have the space to buy before the election to not implement before the election. If we hadn't gotten the equipment purchased relatively well in advance of the election, we would not have been allowed to use it. So
Mhm.
we'd have had a serious issue with space.
Okay, so the decision was made to put that on
Hold off.
hold until after the election, yeah,
Yes.
okay,
We're still doing in-person voting.
Yes.
yeah.
So your goal after you purchase this new equipment, when are you gonna first use it?
We would look to implement next year.
In the spring or?
Well, if there is
Or
a
next November.
spring election, we would hope to, but certainly by November of next year,
Okay.
the new equipment will be.
And so, the money has already been encumbered, right? Did we receive well, I know we backed it out of the budget from 20,
Yes, we have not received the money from the state.
Oh, we have not.
It's still sitting from the state. We would get reimbursed for it.
Yes.
Oh,
We would-
okay, that's right.
We'd have to
That's
expend
right.
it and then get
That's right.
reimbursed for it.
That's
So
right.
the money's still sitting in the Secretary,
Yeah.
whether it's the Secretary of State's fund or whoever's fund that
that's
is.
right, that's right.
Has there been a review or some report on the equipment that, like the top 2 vendors from the last time we went through this process, and from the other counties? Have you had a report from the other counties, the equipment that they bought brand new? And did they like them? Did they dislike them? Did they
Not
work
a
properly?
formal report, however, we do communicate with our colleagues at other counties, and with these 2 vendors, the reports have been pretty positive. And ES&S which is our current one, I have
Mhm.
familiarity with the new products, because at the county I used to work at, we had just implemented
Right.
the new products. So I can report firsthand just how impressive some of their.
I can see the advantage in letting the counties decide, what type of equipment they want to use, but I'm just curious as to why there isn't some type of standardization throughout the state to keep it consistent.
Well, there is to an extent. There is a voting equipment board that only approved equipment may be used, and there's a relatively small number of vendors who are approved for
Oh.
use.
Okay.
In terms of requiring a form of equipment at the state level, they could, but it would create a
Mhm.
huge financial hardship for a number of places. Smaller counties
Mhm.
can really have trouble
I see.
keeping up.
Do they have a recommendation that they give you, obviously, or a standardization they like to see, or how does it?
Not really.
No.
They stay fairly hands-off. You can use any approved vendor.
I see.
And
Okay. Good to know. Well, definitely, we will jot that down and make sure that we stop in and take a look at those for you.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
will send
Sure.
along a more formal
Yeah.
invite.
And everything's on track. We're all in good shape. Everybody's happy and healthy and ready to go.
It's getting intense already. Our pace of work is far more than it usually is
This time.
of the year.
Mhm.
The pace of applications is significantly up from even
Good.
4 years ago.
So you would say that overall applications are up?
Yes, and I anticipate it'll stay that way. Yesterday, we received over 1,400 applications.
Mhm.
It's way too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it because it's a lot easier for us to get them handled early rather
Sure.
than late. But
Are you gonna have enough poll workers?
we have already been out recruiting and making sure, and so far the responses we're getting are fantastic. The people of this county are anxious to serve.
That's great. Well, I'm sure we're, probably repeating a broken record, but if there's something we can do to help and get that message out, if you need more poll workers or volunteers or whatever, if we
We
can
will.
get it out through the media or whatever we need to do.
I am certainly grateful for that because in working in elections administration, there's no such thing as too many poll workers.
Mhm.
Especially for this election, we'll have more that needs to take place at the voting locations to make sure that the places stay clean and safe.
Good question. You just reminded me. So the CARES Act funding, will you be getting it directly through the state, or would they still be coming through what our process is here?
They could go through our process. I'm not familiar with what yet you guys have
We
received
had
from the
we
state.
had some that came through basically the Secretary of State's CARES Act money that ends up going to us. That we're fairly constrained on what we can use it on, and then we have an entirely separate grant that we got at the same time that we have to use on more security, both physical and cyber
I see.
upgrades.
What about locations? Are we having any issue with locations?
Our locations have been fantastic with us. We are moving one location. We were, due to Secretary of State's directive, we are no longer able to vote at Notre Dame. We're close to locking down the location. I don't want to announce the location until we have the signed contract.
Very good,
in hand,
yeah.
but we should have that within a week.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for your hard work.
Certainly.
It's gonna get busier, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So with COVID, what's your plan, like, I worked the polls for 4 years, but like the M100, you're gonna wipe that down Or
Well, that is
keep
one of the
things
reasons-
separated? Do you need a bigger room?
Well, the first thing we've done is we have changed the layout of locations. We've gotten rid of the idea of precinct tables. There is a central check-in that everyone flows through, and that's the only place that there's a congregation, rather than having multiple places in the room where people congregate. And we set it up so that voters are able to sort of flow through in a continuous manner. There will be PP available for voters at the location. There will be single-use pens. Each voter will get their own pen. Each voter will get a deli glove to use for signing the e-poll book, because we don't want folks sharing the styli or pens or anything like that. As M100s or voting booths are used, we will have them wiped down. That's one of the reasons that we'll probably have more poll workers than usual to assist with certain of those tasks. And we'll have masks available for those voters who may not have one. And we'll highly encourage voters to take advantage of that and to make this as safe of an election as we can.
And have the VAT table off to the side?
Actually, as part of the voting location revamp, the VAT, you're familiar with the central check-in, correct?
Yes.
The VAT will be the last e-poll book on that central check-in table, and all the voters at the check-in table, instead of having to go to a different table to get a ballot, the ballot will be provided at the check-in table,
Good.
so that we're not sending people to crowd over there and go on there. So we've adapted for this, and almost all of our locations will have separate entrances and exits to try to promote that kind of flow through.
Well, thank you.
Certainly, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Pete. Very good. Okay.
I move we adjourn.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you. Second that.
There's been some letters sent out.